Hello everyone, my name is Dirkules. I'm a pretty average 1700 Han player. I'm really not that amazing, but I am a lot better than most 1600s. And I've seen a lot of threads where people are kind of asking for advice. They're saying, "Hey, I've been stuck at 1600 for 1,000 games. What am I doing wrong? What's the difference between my game and a 1700s game?" And there's a lot of kind of mediocre advice out there. Like a lot of people will say, ward these places, buy these items, but knowing that is not really enough to increase your MMR. It's not really even enough to get to 1600, to be honest. What really matters in Han is the decisions that you make over the course of the game about where to put your hero and kind of what skills to use on who at what point in time. Those are way, way more important than like where to place your wards. And honestly, there's enough advice out there about warding that nothing I could say could add anything to it. So anyway, we're going to watch this from the point of view of SM113. We're going to mostly talk about the mistakes he makes, just because he asked for some advice on Reddit about what can I do, what are my mistakes, how can I improve. So let's start with the picking phase. The picking phase is an interesting kind of psychological game. Most people's goal is to somehow end up playing a carry with a good support hero in the lane next to them. But okay, so this ping player, nice enough to right-click a support player, and that really sends the signal, I want to win the game. If you right-click pick a support hero, you're saying, this is a serious game, we're going to try and win. Okay, we got a Flint Beastwood, that's not a bad pick, that's a good carry. We got a Predator. Predator, he complements Flint Beastwood very well, just because it's nice to have a hero who can kind of get up in people's face, and a hero who can kind of lob a lot of damage from the backlines. But there's a real problem here. There's a real problem with this lineup. Problem is this and this. We have two people who've given no indication of their pick until 11 seconds before the game starts. These two players, they couldn't adjust their pick at all to accommodate these people. I mean, they could pick Kronos and Magebane for all these two guys know, and it would be their fault for losing the game because no one would get any far. I mean, you have to show people what you're going to play, or your lanes are going to be terrible. Now props to SM113 for picking Glacius. By the way, if you're Brown, play support. You're never going to screw up your team by playing support when you're Brown. You are always going to help them because everyone always assumes that you're going to play support. Now, it's a stupid assumption, and I'm not going to go into the psychology of it, especially in this game where there's only a 40 PSR difference. But if your team does not have enough support heroes, at least one of your carry heroes is going to have a bad time. Anyway, now this is really unfortunate that this guy has given no indication. Is he going to play hard carry? Is he going to play a ganker? We don't know. So let's see what he actually plays. Okay. That I don't even know what to say. So he right-clicks Glacius 10 seconds before, and I've paused it by the way because there's not actually a lot of time to discuss this. And likewise, these people do not have that's a funny bug. This is right here is a funny bug. These people have no time to respond to this Glacius to Midas. And Glacius, by the way, is a completely different type of hero than Midas. I mean, so it kind of looks like his plan is, I'm going to go mid with Midas, this guy's going to pick a support hero, and then Predator and the support go bottom, and Voodoo and Flint Beastwood go top. That is extremely unrealistic, because, I mean, if you're Brown, no one will let you go mid. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to insult anyone who's Brown, which is, I mean, that would be a ridiculous thing to do because it's randomly generated. You're Brown in 1 out of 5 games you play. But like, that's just the Han culture. You cannot go mid if you're Brown. So to pick a hero who needs mid, by the way, Midas needs mid. Midas is not a support hero. He has 450 range. This means he cannot harass anyone effectively. He needs levels to be effective because he does not have a stun until level 6. He's very, very weak in a dual lane. He just doesn't do it. All he has is a slow. Okay. So now we're into the game. We're into the item buying phase, as I like to call it, and Voodoo Jester has done something interesting. He's pulled off what I call the support player's gambit. That's where you upgrade the courier and buy 0 wards. And it's an interesting tactic. The idea behind that tactic is to make the other support player buy the wards, and then you come out ahead because you have a flying courier and wards. By the way, you should have a flying courier and wards before the game starts. Having a walking courier, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for, losing losing their bottle to the other mid or something. Just something horrible is going to happen if you have a walking courier. You should not have a walking in courier. 2 minutes into the game max. And if you have two people who are not trying to last hit in a lane, you should have a flying courier to start the game with. And by the way, Midas will not be last hitting in his lane. He will be laning. I mean, if you look at this lineup, he has to lane with Pharah. Like, why would you waste the strong lane? And he's trying to go in the strong lane. He's motioned that he wants to go in the strong lane, but that's stupid. Why would you waste the strong lane on a Predator Midas? No. You give the strong lane to a strong pair of heroes like Predator Voodoo Jester. Predator Voodoo Jester, that's a powerful lane. That's a scary lane to be against, because if you come close to the creeps, you could easily die. Okay. Now for the record, Pharah is an idiot and an asshole, and he randomed Pharah. He didn't. So it is not entirely Midas' fault this lane is terrible, but there's no hero that Midas is good with. If you don't know who you're going to lane with, pick pick Torturer or pick Pyromancer. Pick someone who will be good no matter what. Don't pick a hero who needs to be alone. This lane would only work if Pharah was like a jungler and was jungling over here. Then Midas could solo bottom and that would be fine. So already we see a huge throw in the Midas pick, and we see a big throw in the lack of wards. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about this wards issue, because there are so many videos out there that will explain how important wards are, exactly how to place them, exactly. He's saying he can't afford it. Voodoo Jester is calling him out on his lack of wards, as he should. And Midas, he's making up some bullshit about how he can't afford it. What is this item? This is better than wards? I don't think so. This item is not as important as wards. If you don't ward, your mid's going to lose, and you're going to lose the lane because this isn't going to be warded. That's all. You have to buy ward. That's all I'm going to say about warding, because if you choose to be a bad warder, it's not because you don't know you're supposed to buy wards. It's not because you don't know how to wards. That information is extremely common. You easily can be a good warder. If you're a bad warder, it's because you're choosing to be a bad warder. Anyway, that's going to be it for the first video. I'm going to make another video about how the actual lanes go, but already you can see that these players, a lot of them are shooting themselves in the foot. Honestly, these Voodoo Jester starting items they're horrible. This is not a good starting item. We all know what he's going for. We all know he's going for the earlier Guardian Ring. And by the way, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea because he's not going to have enough hit points early on. The +2 armor is not as good as +80 hit points and +4 auto attack damage and plus. By the way, agility gives you armor. So if you get for the +1 stat items, you'll get a little bit of extra armor. So as you can see, there were a lot of mistakes already made this game before anyone even hit a creep. Anyway, that's all for the first video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something.